Hey guys, in this lecture I'm going to teach you what is WBS, work breakdown structure, and my favorite decomposition method called MECE, which stands for mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive. So if you have done any project management, you probably have come across WBS as a term. Maybe you haven't done one, maybe you have. It is essential component for building a reliable schedule. So what work breakdown structure stands for is basically decomposition of the scope and the related work of the project. I'm using a very simple example now. Let's assume that we are building a house here. Hold on. Let's assume that we're building a house here, and we have the title of the work breakdown structure in the middle. And let's assume that we break down the whole project into 5 distinct parts. We have foundation, we have floor 1, we have floor 2, we have roof, and we have the surrounding space around the house. And to build a work breakdown structure essentially means to identify all the subtasks within each of the categories. On a large enough real-life project, you cannot do that alone. And during initiation of the project, you will assemble your core team. You will have specialists in each of the domains, and they will help you identify the individual tasks, their duration, the resources required, and most importantly, the sequencing of those tasks. But as a first step, you have to have the WBS. On a smaller projects, you may not end up having actual document called WBS. You can do it mentally. But on the bigger ones, you will have to use some kind of a template to create this. And in the top right-hand corner, here is the visual summary of the work breakdown structure. We have the surrounding space, foundation, floor 1, floor 2, and the roof, right? Now, how do you do that? Well, you do that through decomposition. And what decomposition stands for is basically taking, for example, chunk of the work breakdown structure, floor 1, and asking the question, what needs to be done to build floor 1? And you brainstorm with the team, and you come up with the various tasks, and then you sequence them, and then you add the resourcing. To be able to do that, you need some kind of approach. And my favorite one is MECE, and this is a consulting trick from McKinsey and the top 4 consulting companies. But I find it very useful as a mental tool in this part of the project. So what you see on the left-hand side is the mutually exclusive part. And this is a model, so let's think conceptually. You see that there is a shape 1, shape 2, 3, 4, and 5, and they don't overlap. So they are mutually exclusive. Shape 1 does not overlap with shape 2, or in fact with any of the other shapes. On the right-hand side, you see the collectively exhaustive part, meaning that there are no empty spaces between the various shapes. However, there are overlaps, but no empty spaces. And all the shapes add up to the whole square here. So that's collectively exhaustive. And if you combine those two, you come up with MECE, which is mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive. And now you see that parts 1 and 2, they do not overlap. There is a very clear border between them. They do not overlap. And the total, the sum of all shapes, adds up exactly to the square. So this is what you want to achieve conceptually when you break down a task. Let's go back to our house example. And of course, this is super simplified example. I fully understand that in real life, it's much more complex. But in this simple example, we say that, okay, we need a house. It's going to have surrounding space, foundation, floor 1, floor 2, and roof. None of the parts should overlap. Any action items or tasks identified around foundation should be unique and different from the ones on floor 1 and the ones performed on floor 2 and the ones performed on the roof. But together, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 add up to the whole project. So this is ideally what you want to achieve conceptually. Again, much more difficult in real life, but this is just for illustration purposes. And later on in Smartsheet, I will teach you how to actually implement this in the tool.